Hey everybody, it's the day before Thanksgiving 2013, and we're going to show you how to make a number of things. Mom's got some pumpkin already cooked that we'll talk about in a bit. We've got a brine going on for the turkey. We'll talk about that. But first we're going to start with the stuffing. So, come this way. The first thing we did was to toast, not even really toast, but to dry out some bread. So we just actually had it on both racks. The oven was down to about 210. That was after we'd cooked something at 350, so it was already warm. But anyway, we put it in there and toasted it. It doesn't really have to be toasted like this necessarily. It's really just going to be dry. So you do that until those are dry. And then ultimately what you'll do, can you see that? Is you'll take those dried breadcrumbs or dried pieces of simply white toast or white bread and just cut it like that and turn it around and cut it like that into rough cubes, and all that will be how we start. In addition to the bread, we use Jimmy Dean sage sausage. Sage is important. Sage is really good for this. Lots of butter as always. Chicken broth. We're using sliced almonds this year. Slivered almonds will work. I think we've used other nuts in the past. I've got ready one lime. We cut in half. I don't know, most of a head of garlic. That's 6-8 cloves of garlic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 onions. 2 peppers, and I don't know, 4 or 5 things of celery. And with the celery, I always do this and de-string it to get rid of the strings in it. It makes it kind of easier to cut. And I've already done that with the rest of them. And here we go. And then we had some sage in the garden this year, so pulled a few sage leaves that I'll include in that. And we'll cut that up and saute it, and we'll come back and talk more about that later. Okay, over here you'll see that I have chopped all the vegetables. We do a pretty rough chop on everything, so that, because first we're going to saute it in here. So I'll put a stick of butter in the pan, and it is heating up. Well, it needs to be heating up. It will be heating up. I haven't chopped the lime because I'll just squeeze that in, and I'll throw it in, as you'll see. And then I haven't chopped the sage because I'm just going to use it for flavor, and then I'll take it out later. So rough chopped all the vegetables. I've got the stove heating up. I'll saute this in this big pot, and because it's just so much vegetable content. What I didn't say earlier is we're actually making a double batch of stuffing, one for now for Thanksgiving and one that we'll eat again at Christmas, and so we'll freeze it. So we started with 2 loaves of bread, all the vegetables that you saw, and so we'll saute that down, and I'll show you how that goes in a minute. Alright, I've got the butter in here. It's ready to go. Again, I showed you over here we have sage, and there's some garlic that I've chopped up. Those are going to go in first to flavor the oil, and then this stuff will go in on top of that, and then it'll cook down, and I'll show you how that's going. Okay, you see I put the sage in here, and the garlic. What that does is it flavors the oil so that flavor gets dispersed throughout all the vegetables as we go. And I'll add those in. Normally I would cook the vegetables, I would saute the vegetables in smaller batches. I'm not going to do that this time, and it'll result in some liquid gathering in the pot, and I'll cook through that stage, and I'll show you that to get to where we want to be. At this point the vegetables are in the pot, and it's on high, which is the only thing this burner works on actually at the moment. Anyway, again, I'll just keep it stirred so that it doesn't burn. A lot of juices will start to come out of the vegetables and collect down here, and I want to cook through until all that moisture is gone away and it's back to sauteing again. That'll condense the vegetable juices into the into a flavoring that will help make the stuffing even better. So I'll show you that stage, and then we'll show you the final stage. You can see how the moisture is starting to gather at the bottom. It's actually less than I would have expected, honestly, but I guess this burner is on so high it's keeping it away. But because of this amount of vegetable, you'll get a bunch of water that gathers, and it's normally when you saute you don't want really that. You just want it to be on high and have it cook, but nonetheless that's what we get at this point. We get a bunch of moisture that normally forms, and we'll cook all that moisture away and continue to cook the vegetable down, and I'll show you the final product next. Alright, we've got the sausage cooked. It's ready to go into the breadcrumbs, which are over here, but now we've got the vegetables that we need to deal with. Come over here. And if you hear that, we're back to that sauteing sound again. Most of the moisture is cooked out. The vegetables have really cooked down. That's why we started with them a big cut. I'm going to season them with some lime, which gives it a nice little kick. And I'll toss that in there. Salt, which that's not enough, but that's what I've got at the moment. Pepper, which of course we always grind our own. Then I always add some paprika. Again, we don't measure anything, just a good dusting over the top of the paprika. And even though we put all that garlic in it, I add a little dusting of granulated garlic. And we cook that, kind of stir that around and let those flavors meld together. Go ahead and take it off the heat. And then we'll mix everything together in a minute. Last step is to toast the almonds. You see I have some almonds here, and this is difficult to do. I put a little bit of butter in the bottom of the pan just to keep everything from sticking. You want to toast them to give them a little extra flavor, but you don't want to burn them, and that's real easy to do. They'll go from toasted to burnt in no time. So you can do it in the oven, just lay them out flat on a cookie sheet or something, or in a pan like I'm doing here. Anyway, you just want to get them from that white to the light golden brown state, kind of like that one is there. Those are right there. Those are good, where these are a little bit whiter. So we'll just keep going a little bit further, and then we'll mix it all together. Okay, we got everything done. This is the way the veggies should look when you're done. We've got the sausage browned off, and the almonds are about as good as you're going to get them without burning them. So that's that. I'm going to mix them all into here. Put those in. I'll scrape that pot and get everything out of it in a second. Mix in the sausage. Don't mind keeping the fat. The fat is really what makes the stuffing delicious, quite frankly, between the butter and the sausage and everything else. The almonds can go ahead and go in too. And we'll mix all this up and show you what the final result looks like. Alright, so we mixed it up. It's actually sat for me to eat a bowl of soup. But really it's still pretty dry. And everything's still individual, which is fine, but you're going to cook it in the oven, like a 350-degree oven, so it's going to have moisture along the way. So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze this other half of the lime in there. It gives it a nice brightness that I enjoy. Lemon would probably work just as well, but I like the taste of the lime. And then sometimes I put another half stick to a whole stick of butter in here at this point, but I actually added another half stick earlier that you didn't see. And now this is just chicken broth that I'm adding to it, because you need to have it moist enough so that it can have time to cook in the oven, but you're not so moist that it's just like mush. So I kind of do the add it and stir it, and then add a little bit more. And in the end, I want it to kind of almost sit together like that. And then you just put it away and cook, and you're good. So that's how we make stuffing.
Cook for how long?
Cook for how long? About a 350 degree oven for 30 to 45 minutes until